I took my Bolex to a local veterinarian and got 4 x-rays done. Here's one from a side view. So this is my 1962 Paillard Bolex H16 Rex. You can see there's the latch for the trigger, there's the 3 lenses on the turret, there's the big spring, all sorts of cool stuff. Let's see if we can zoom in. So you can kind of see the threads in this telephoto lens hood, I guess it would be called. You can see the rubber cap. The rubber cap is, it looks almost fuzzy. You can see a lot of gears down there. You can almost see the Paillard Bolex logo right there. It's sideways. It's also interesting to see that spring. So that is the spring that gives it the springy action. That's the arm for cranking up the spring. Evidently the spring goes to this mechanism here. And actually, sorry, that's what that spring is, that sprocket right there is. And then that connects to the big gear that's on the coil. And it's kind of hard to tell. I guess this is a shaft it's a screw. So down here you can see it's actually running a screw against that little gear. And now one very interesting thing that I find very fascinating with these old Bolexes is that these belts are actually long springs. So they're made of metal and they won't deteriorate. Because if they're made of rubber, the rubber might rot or something like that. But because it's made out of springs, I'm not sure of which material, then those springs can last a long time. It's very interesting. You can actually see inside of the viewfinder. So we have the light coming in here, the film gate is behind that, but before that is a prism. The prism breaks off 1/3 of the light, bounces it up here. You can see there's a little 45-degree angle mirror right there. That moves the light down. Right here we have a little lever. That little lever lets you flip up a little flap, little diagonal thing here that covers the viewfinder. Because if you don't have your eye over the end of the viewfinder, then the light can also come back up, bounce off that mirror, go through the prism, and go into the film, and spoil your film. Well, now into the next X-ray. Now this one is slightly different, I believe. I believe he had a lower exposure, so it's not as the X-rays didn't penetrate as much. And also I had the sprockets on this one, or the daylight reels, daylight spools. That's it, spools. So I had the daylight spools on here. This one is actually full of film, and you can see that the X-rays actually go through the film like nothing. That's a whole 100 feet of film right there. It's already developed film, so it should be pretty much the same as undeveloped film, although it doesn't have the rim jet covering. It's very similar. It's still, I believe, polyester base. This one actually has a little bit less detail on the internals, but it seems to have nice detail on the lenses. I'm actually very surprised to see how clear or transparent the little aluminium covers for the lenses are, especially that one. Oh, I understand. It's a perspective shot. It's not orthographic. So, of course, since the size of the cameras are like this, they look like they're going like that, and they're not going to be parallel. So, the stuff up here is angled like that, and the stuff like here is angled like that. That makes more sense now. So, these lenses we're actually seeing slightly turned, and then the stuff down here we're seeing turned the other way because it's the perspective radiating from the single point of where the X-rays came from. Because, of course, this is actually a view from underneath the camera. So we have it like that. About, yeah, it's not bad. Let's go on to X-ray 3. He seemed like he enjoyed doing these X-rays for me, so I think I might go back to my local veterinarian again and do some more X-rays. So now we have a front view, and on this front view there's a lot of stuff to go through here, so most of the X-rays didn't even go through the front of the camera. Definitely didn't go through all the lenses and whatnot. Although, it's very interesting, the wall right here, you can't really see it. So this section here that's very dim is seeing through this piece of metal and this piece of metal. That's kind of odd. He must have had to really crank this up a lot to get the X-rays to go through that. I am definitely going to get some high-resolution scans of these. And I think I'm probably going to get rid of these little squares right here whenever I digitize them, because I might actually see about using these to make a poster, and maybe I can print them on my own printing press if I ever get that going, and sell them. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know though. Or maybe there's a website kind of like Teesprings, but they do posters instead of shirts. That might be kind of neat too. I think the next one has better detail. That one seems like he exposed it a lot more, and it looks like it's more parallel too. There's a little screw for screwing the handle onto the bottom of it, and there's the little thumb trigger. That's a very nice view of the hand crank that folds out, and you can crank it. And then this is the shutter, so you can adjust the shutter by moving that little thing up and down. Oh, you can even see the notches. So you have to pull this out and move it over, and evidently it catches on these little notches here, and so each one is like a percentage closed, and you can do fade outs that way, or also count for very bright light that way too. That's obviously the full reel, and that's the empty reel. But you can see these two lines right here, which are the sides of the aluminium daylight spool. This little sprocket looking thing here is actually a little dial, a little like screw to tighten down the turret, so you don't actually accidentally have the turret spin. I don't know if I'm... I don't know if I know what that thing over here is. There's this thing that sticks out. It's meant for holding like little filters and stuff like that. So that coupled with the lens is what makes that right there. And this is pushed over a bit. Huh. Interesting. Maybe I should get my own X-ray machine sometime. Oh, and this is a little scissor for cutting the film if you need to have it to be exactly like even or whatever, which is this right here. That way, if you ever have any issues, which I actually have had issues of this, where you're trying to get the film to go through and it's like crumpled or something like that, and it just won't go through, and so you have to take it out, like undo those and take the film out, and then cut the end to make sure it's nice and straight so it'll go through. Or actually, I guess a little bit angled. Yeah, it's a little bit angled. Well, that's pretty much it. I got these done, mostly for that project of maybe making a poster out of them. I think it could look really interesting. I have a specific design, like, thought out so far. I might have to go back and have him do a bigger exposure on the front view one, just to see what's going on in the middle. But I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty messy looking. He only charged me $20 for this. I think he used expired film, so That was pretty nice. $20 for 4 x-rays is a steal. Oh my god, check this out. I can stuff the x-ray up into the bevel, or the bezel, of my monitor. That is so cool. Now I don't have to use tape at all. Well, I took some pictures of these, and I modified them in GIMP, and I think they turned out pretty well. I tried getting rid of these boxes, and I added some text and whatnot, and messed around with the colors a little bit. I think they turned out kind of okay, although I'll really get a good quality image from them whenever I have these scanned, so that should be pretty cool. I don't really have much else to talk about. I just kind of, yeah, I just got my favorite camera x-rayed and thought that was kind of cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.